Hey everyone, it's Justine here celebrating the second anniversary blog hop for So Susie Stamps. I'm going to go into a lot more detail about the blog hop at the end of the video, but you don't want to miss out. The link below is in the description. There's hundreds of dollars of prizes being given away, including a mini Misty over on my blog. So if you don't have the stamping tool yet, be sure to enter. All you have to do is be a subscriber to my channel and just head over to my blog to fill out the form to let me know you are. But let's get started on the tutorial and more information later on that. We were told to work with the top 10 best-selling or most popular or whatever you want to call it, So Susie Stamps. So I was assigned the fancy butterfly stamp from So Susie Stamps. So to get started on this card, I'm going to show you how to make your own gold paper, and I'm going to show you how to make a card using some gold embossing powder. Now you can buy gold paper, but often it's going to come in a foil or a glitter look. And I want my gold to match my embossing powder. So I'm going to show you how to make your own gold paper. Before I show you this though, I wanted to get started on my card. As I was making this card, I noticed that my stamp wasn't sticking to the block. This is in no way reflective of So Susie Stamps at all. I actually ended up having a hair on my block, and that's why it was not sticking. So if you notice, I'm just kind of sort of stamping with my hands and using the press to help. That would be the reason why, and I just wasn't that much of a genius this morning early to figure that out. So I'm going to be stamping this butterfly here in Versamark ink all over a piece of Simon Says Stamp black cardstock, and I'm just going to create sort of a random pattern and just go about the entire card as close together as I possibly can without overlapping, because I'm going to be heat embossing this. At the beginning you saw me use an embossing bag. That leaves a small amount of powder to help with static so that the embossing powder doesn't stick to places it shouldn't. I'm just going in and adding some final butterfly touches there with the stamp, and I'm going to be stamping my sentiment. So I'm going to be kind of doing all of my embossing at the same time because it's just easier. So I'm going to be stamping the You Are Forever and Always, or You Are My Forever and Ever, sorry, by So Susie Stamps as well. And I'm going to be embossing this all in gold. So I'm going to be using some Ranger Superfine embossing powder in gold. It's my favorite gold embossing powder, and I'm sure there's lots out there, but this is actually, I've only tried a couple, and by far this one's my favorite just because it gets in all those little details. And especially with a stamp like this, with these really fine butterflies, you definitely need a detailed embossing powder or a finer embossing powder to get the best results. Just going to tip this upside down, give the back a flick to remove any excess embossing powder, and you can remove any bits that stick onto the embossing powder or onto the paper still with a dry brush. I am also going to teach you, as I mentioned, how to make your own gold embossing powder, and this is how I made it. So what I'm doing is I'm just grabbing my Versamark ink, and I'm going along my paper with the Versamark ink, and I'm not using a stamp, I'm going directly with the ink to the paper. Now I'm only going to need a gold border, so I'm just going along the edges, but if you need a complete gold piece of paper, you can also just ink up the entire page. I made a mistake here and actually put the embossing powder directly on my craft mat after using Versamark. So I ended up not being able to reuse any of this gold powder because it's stuck to my mat. So just be careful and use a scrap piece of paper and not the same one you just did the Versamark stamping on. So I'm just going along the entire edge, and then I'm going to melt the embossing powder to make my gold paper that matches my gold embossing on my butterflies. I'm going to do all the embossing at the same time. Embossing is my absolute favorite technique. I just love how it melts and it just creates this amazing artwork, and I love how it resists other inks and mediums and things like that. It's just such a versatile technique that you can do so many things with. So I'm just going to do the butterfly background, I'm going to do my gold paper that I'm creating here, and I'm going to melt the sentiment that I had created for my card. And then we're just going to simply put everything together, because you're probably wondering where am I going with all of this at this point in time. So now that that's all done, I just need to put everything together as I mentioned. So I'm going to grab all my pieces here that I've embossed, as well as a black card base. Measures 11 by 4¼ inches, and it's scored there in the middle at 5½ inches to make a top folding card. Simon Says Stamp black cardstock is my personal favorite for black cardstock. I find it has a really deep black, and also it doesn't show fingerprints if my fingers are oily. I find that with some cardstocks that does happen. So I'm going to start off by laying down this panel here where we created our own gold paper. And I'm just going to glue that to the back of my card panel or my card base here using some Tombow Mono liquid adhesive. Should stick absolutely no problem. It's the next layer where you have to apply a generous amount of adhesive over the edges because of that embossed area is quite slippery, and you have to just hold it down for a second. So now you can see my gold paper matches my butterflies, and you can see where I was going with that. And then I'm just going to add my title off to the side, sort of in the middle where that big space was where the butterflies couldn't get in there, just to add a little something, put the sentiment to cover up sort of a little mistake, I guess you could call it. And that's the end of today's card tutorial, so I hope you enjoyed this super shiny gold card. Here's another look at the card in natural light. So thanks everyone for being a supporter of my channel. Be sure to subscribe to my channel for a chance to win the Mini Misty, and head over to my blog to fill out the form to be able to be entered into the draw. Also, on the 2nd anniversary blog hop, which is in the description below the link, if you comment on all of the blogs, you have a chance to win a $25 gift certificate, the Mini Misty, a note card set for Monica, and then there's also a chance to win over on the So Susie Stamps Facebook page, which I'll link to you below, a $50 gift certificate, a bunkie bag. There is also a chance to win the entire June release of the stamp set. So there's a ton of prizes being given away to celebrate So Susie's 2nd anniversary. All listed in the link below, all the information you need to be able to win that. But don't forget to subscribe to my channel. It's the most important thing, just so you don't miss out on any of these prizes or videos. All the supplies used are listed below in the video description or on my blog on that link. And if you want to access my blog, you can click here up at the top right now. You can click on the moving video to check out this other video tutorial from So Susie Stamps that I created. Or on the right, you can subscribe to my YouTube channel. Again, you'll be entered to win the Mini Misty tool as long as you fill out the form on the link below. Thanks again for watching. See you next time.